Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the special episode of Ad Astra Muse podcast. Today, your host is me, Mukhammadali Sodikov, the specialist in making people really uncomfortable and asking very difficult questions. And today, our guest is none other than Mukhammadali Sodikov, a triple niner, motivator, educator, and heartbreaker. Please. And today we're going to unravel the mysteries around this person. I know that you have been waiting for this podcast for so long, and let's dive in.
Wow. Hey, hi. Hey guys, hey everyone. It feels so weird to be a podcast guest, especially on my own podcast. Oh my God, my heart is literally racing right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
So let's start our podcast with some background information about you.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood, school years, please, or family background?
Oh, well, which one do you want me to talk about? All three?
Well, yeah.
That's a lot of information. This lady is making me talk. It's going to be a long speech, so bear with me, guys. So growing up, I was a very weird boy, like one of those, guys you see sit in the back of the class and not that social, and he doesn't really blend in with his circle, his class or his friends in the neighborhood. I was one of those guys. So, and it was hard, as a child. I actually also got bullied a lot when I was a kid because I was overweight. So kids in my neighborhood and at school used to bully me, make fun of me, call me different names. So yeah, I had a really tough childhood. As for my family background, I was born into a family of teachers, and my dad works at university. He teaches. He's got, I think, a bunch of other jobs, but I honestly have no clue because we don't really talk much, despite the fact that we live in the same house under the same roof. As for my mom, she teaches, economics at school. Yeah. As for my background, I went to a public school like most other kids, and then I went to a lyceum, right? And it was only after I got into lyceum that I started opening up, because I had to commute to a different place. So, when I was in school, the place used to be in our neighborhood, so I could just walk there. So it felt very much like home, right? And the kids I was surrounded with, they were all my friends. And, even though we had our, differences and we weren't exactly, we didn't exactly get along well, we still were, good friends. But once I started going to lyceum, that was like being thrown into a jungle with different kinds of animals. Because then I made friends from all different backgrounds. I made friends with Russians. I made friends with guys from, other regions. So it was like being thrown into a piranha pit, like, so to speak. So it felt very, very, very strange, and I felt so like a fish out of the water going to lyceum. But surprisingly, that experience taught me a lot. It taught me to be more open-minded, and it taught me also to be more, adaptable. Were it not for my lyceum experience, I don't think I would have. I think I would have stayed that same guy who's awkward and painfully shy, right? And only after then, things kind of started snowballing. I kind of started, getting more, serious about my future, and I started setting myself bigger goals and ambitions, because it was like finally being introduced to a different universe and realizing that there is a whole different world beyond your tiny little, neighborhood. So that's what it felt like. So like the first 9 years of my life, I was pretty much confined to a little neighborhood. So that was my world. right?
I see. What
But once-
about your university years? So why did you choose exactly to study at Westminster University in Tashkent?
Well, for one, I did not choose to go to Westminster University like most other kids. I was forced in that direction, and I'm glad my parents did that. Okay, I'm really glad they did. Yeah, I can't thank them enough for sending me to an international school, because God knows what would have happened if I stayed here in one of the local universities. Not to say that they're bad. It's just the experience I had at university was very much like experience I had at Lyceum, but on a whole different level. Because then I got the chance not only, to meet people from other regions, but also from different countries, right? And I needed that experience to grow up. I needed that experience to mature. I needed that experience to sort of redefine myself, my mindset, and me as a person. So, yeah. As for the academic side of things, well, I'm not proud of the fact that I was a terrible student at university. I got average results. I got average grade, but by my standards, it's terrible, because I know I could have done way better, but I didn't. I think I was kind of euphoric at the time because I had gotten to university and won a scholarship at the time. So I thought I was one of those cool guys.
Yeah.
So I just, walk around thinking that I was tough guy, one of those smart kids. But those guys who got into university on and had to pay their tuition, they actually caught up fast. In fact, they just superseded. They went ahead and ended up getting excellent grades in the final year, and some of them even became a valedictorian. Like, valedictorian is someone who gets to go and give a speech on the graduation day, right? So yeah, that's pretty much my university experience. There's a lot to talk about. You want me to keep going?
I have follow-up questions as well.
Sure, please.
So, I've noticed lately that the ones who major in economics, the majority of students opt out of this field, and they don't want to continue working in this field. So why do you think it's the case? And it happened to you as well, right?
You mean economics?
Yeah.
Oh, well, unless you want to become a politician or, a career politician or a professor at university, economics professor, I don't think economics is a good choice, because there is so much abstraction, and it's all about theories about how the world works, and the different concepts that try to explain, consumer behavior, or how countries act, and international dynamics and trade, and quite frankly, I don't still quite understand all those concepts myself.
So do you think does it have to do with teaching style? I mean, teaching economics?
No, not really. Okay, I think I had some of the best teachers at Wyatt University, and this is not promotion, and I don't think it, by no means it's exaggeration to say they're some of the best teachers out there. Because, you can tell when someone is smart. You can tell when someone knows what they're saying, and when someone is a real, master of their trade. And my teachers at university were just like that. They fit the bill.
So you mean it was a matter of interest?
Interest. Right? Here's the deal, guys. Now, let me tell you this. I would not stress about it. I wouldn't honestly think much about my major, because you're not gonna know whether it's the right major until you do it.
Yeah. So you haven't done it.
I hadn't done it.
Have you ever thought about working for a governmental organization just for the sake of experience?
No, never. I don't think I could have possibly done that unless it's in a different universe.
Right.
If there's anyone who believes in the theory of multiverse, possibly there's a universe out there where I have a government job, right? I'm on, but I don't think I could not have possibly imagined myself to one day go on to become a career politician or have a government job because, all right, for one, I don't like playing by rules. I might come
rebellious type.
Yeah,
Right.
I might pretend to be a good boy, but I'm actually a bad boy trying to be a good boy. So I don't like playing by rules. This is one. I would not ever settle for a typical office job because I hate the idea of going to work at a set time. I want to go to work whenever I like. Yeah, and I don't like being told what to wear, and I don't like being told what kind of haircut to have. So, yeah, that's not me. So, I knew, even though the pay was gonna be very, 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 very satisfying, and the recognition, the status, and the stature that come with it, I wouldn't personally be fulfilled in life, right? I guess that's the whole reason why I opt out of this option, right? I was. This is not to say that government jobs are bad. You just gotta understand that they come with a lot of responsibility, which I wasn't prepared for at the time, right? This is one, and two is I knew as someone who went to an international university, I'd be terrible. I would not be able to fit in with the this local circle here because of obvious mindset differences. And I knew that I'd have a lot of conflicts with my colleagues, and I instead decided to do the thing that I'd been doing for a long time. And a lot of people are curious why I picked teaching. Okay, for one, I don't necessarily consider myself a teacher. I've said it a few times before, right? So, what am I? No, I don't have an answer to that question yet. This is something I'm still searching for. I'd like to think of myself as a jack of all trades. I do a bunch of different things, and I don't subscribe to this whole idea of having one job your entire life. I like to try different things, and that's the whole reason why I started this podcast, which is being hosted by Ms. Markabo.
Hello.
Hello, hi. Everyone say hi. Yeah.
Okay. If you're not against it, can we move on to another section of our interview? And it is about teaching. Teaching and IELTS.
Are we having an interview or a podcast?
Both.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are some questions of your subscribers. So I would like to articulate them. So can you tell us how did your journey of learning English start? Yeah.
All right. It was not by choice. And let me tell you, it was not by choice, and that's a good thing. Okay, a lot of the times we think. I feel like I'm about to philosophize it again, but I can't help it. I'm sorry, I can't help it. So a lot of the times we think that we have control over life and that we make choices, when in fact we don't. We don't. Like 99% of the time, life happens to us. Right?
Yeah.
We don't really control life, so it was not really by choice. I got nudged in that direction, and I can't be happier with the way things turned out, right? So yeah, there was not a particular moment in my life that my English journey started, But if you want kind of the rough start point, I'd probably say the 9th grade when I started taking grammar classes. I was terrible at it because the entire time at school I had been studying French. And as someone who studied French his entire school years, starting to learn English was a real shock.
But they're similar. I mean, in terms of grammar, and in terms of grammar, they're very similar. But
you studied French?
Yeah,
You did?
Yes, I did.
Parlez français?
Oui.
Okay. She knows a little French. I like
Yes,
that.
little. Yes, A1 probably. So
Same here. Same here.
yeah,
That makes the two of us.
yeah. Just they differ with pronunciation, I guess. That's it. Okay, so let's move on with
Oh,
another
I wasn't
question.
done with my English story though.
Oh, sorry.
There's more to
Sorry.
come, guys. There's
Okay.
more. All right. So guess what happened next? I spent so about a year of my early, English journey, learning grammar, and the next 2 years IELTS. Oh yeah, 2 years IELTS. My first time I got 6.5. It's public record, and probably the majority of the subscribers know that. But if you're first time watching this podcast, welcome here. Yeah, welcome aboard. Welcome to Ad Astra Muse. So yeah, I got 6.5 in my first attempt, and then 7.5 in my second attempt. It wasn't until my third attempt that I got 8. So yeah.
Okay.
I was not an instant success. So those kids out there who are beating themselves up because they couldn't get an 8 in their first try. See, first try is not what counts. What counts is how many tries you take after that first try until you get to the place to score or whatever aim you have in mind. So yeah.
I see.
Right.
So I didn't get the chance to congratulate you with your third 9.
Oh, you
So
did. You did actually at the start of the
I did?
podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just introduced you as a triple niner. So
I actually noticed that you were you were one of those teachers on the staff group chat who did not congratulate me.
Oh,
I'm actually keeping track. I'm keeping track. Someone
Okay.
forwarded my score to the staff group chat, right? And I got a bunch of reactions and congrats messages, and she was one of the people who did not react, who did not congratulate. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you want to get a 9 again?
Get a 9 again. I guess just for fun,
Just
There
for
doesn't
fun.
have to be.
Right.
There doesn't have. You don't need it. All right. Sure. All jokes and kidding aside, I did it purely for marketing reasons. Okay, it was a strategic move. All right.
I thought that it was more about teaching. I mean,
no, not really. Not really. It's not really about
To
that.
help
Maybe
your
like
students.
1%. Maybe 1% of the reason is because I wanted to test my abilities and make sure I'm still have my edge. I haven't lost my edge, but it was 99% a strategic move because you know what? I was actually glad when you rescheduled this podcast because we were supposed to have it on 28th, right?
Yeah.
And it was the day I said the test, right?
Yeah.
I was glad you rescheduled the 5th because on the 5th, I kind of had a hunch that I was going to get my third 9 and would be having this podcast.
oh, you see,
And this is
everything
just
happens for a reason, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was all it was all calculated. Like up until this moment, even this conversation we're having right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Except for my answers, okay? They're not scripted. They're they're natural. Trust me.
Okay. So looking back, well, is there anything you would change or you have done differently in terms of your preparation for IELTS? This is the question from your subscribers.
Anything I would have done differently?
Yeah.
No. If I could go back and start all over, I'd probably have done the same things. Just guys. This question is a paraphrase of what's the secret to getting band 9?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I know it. I can see right through it. Okay, there are no tricks. Okay, it's always constant trial and error. All right, this process of trial and error. You try something, it works or it doesn't work. It works, you stick to it. Doesn't work, you ditch it and you try something else. So yeah, and if I know 99% of you guys are looking for a sure way to get a band 9. You're looking for a sure way to get a
Shortcut.
band 8 or to get an 8.5, but there isn't one. You have to. All right, I'm going to drop another quote here, guys. Please pay attention. Another quote here.
Write it down.
Oh, you should be taking notes. Now, do not follow someone's path. Make your own trail. I
Nice.
repeat, do not follow someone's path, make your own trail. All right, something that worked for someone doesn't necessarily mean it will work for you. Okay, something that worked for me won't necessarily work for you. Right, so you know what, guys? I wish you were a little more bold and not afraid to improvise. I wish you were more bold and went ahead and tried things you liked more. Right? That would be way more effective than, you know, pretending to be someone else or trying to make something that worked for someone work for you, right? So the way I see it, it's actually 10 times harder trying to make something that worked for someone work for you. So instead I'd get creative, all right? I wouldn't be afraid to improvise, right? So the entire reason why you guys are tuned in and watching this podcast is because I did exactly that. It's because I tried something different. I wasn't afraid to improvise. I had that element of boldness in my past actions, and that's the thing that keeps you, you know, attracted to this podcast, right? And because it's something different, because it's something you've never seen before. If I were doing the same things everyone else is doing, you wouldn't probably be watching this podcast right now, right?
And people are wondering whether you ever lose interest in terms of IELTS, and because you sit the test regularly, you always teach this. Do you ever get tired of this? And how not to lose interest and keep going?
Okay, that's a tough question. All right, I'm gonna. It's not really about interest to me. I'm honestly not interested in what I'm interested in, if that makes sense. I'm honestly not interested in what I'm interested in. I'm more interested in what needs to be done. I'm more interested in what has to be done, right? If it were up to me, I'd quit IELTS in a heartbeat. If it were up to me, I'd just drop it and never look back. And not have regrets at all. I'm doing it because I need to do it for staff motivation. I'm doing it because I need to do it for school promotion. I need to do it. I have to do it to keep us on the map. I have to do it to keep this school in the spotlight. Like I said, it's all part of our strategy here. So like I said, I'm not interested in IELTS at all. And I don't need someone's confirmation that I speak good English. I don't need someone's confirmation that I write good essays. I don't need someone's confirmation that my decisions are good or bad, because I trust my judgment. I trust my intuition, and I have faith in the things I'm doing. So it's, to me, more about what's expedient, not what's interesting. Right.
I see.
But sometimes I like to spice things up and, you know, do crazy things like this podcast I'm doing here. It was half strategic and half personal interest. So I'm not going to lie.
So if you could offer one piece of advice to someone who is striving to get a perfect score in IELTS, what would it be?
By perfect score, you mean band 9 or you mean
Well, it differs.
quadruple nines?
Well, it differs
Because
from person to person. I mean, it is one of the questions in the comment section. I'm just asking this.
Okay, so when you say a perfect score,
Someone mentioned 8.
Uh-huh.
For them, it's 8.
Okay.
So someone just said
well,
perfect score.
In IELTS terms, the perfect score is overall band 9
Yeah.
with 4 band 9s.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid
Right.
I can't speak to that because I've never got quadruple 9s. And I'm not sure if I ever will. And so, but yeah, if you're trying to get overall band 9, all right, sure. Here's my advice. And I've probably talked about this before. I've given this advice before, and I've talked about this topic, specifically this question. I got asked when I got my second 9 on IDP podcast, Edu podcast. So what's one piece of advice you have when there were only 2 Niners back then? So what's one piece of, and I guess everyone watching were taking notes because now there are a bunch of Niners.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And they're probably watching this podcast too. So here we go. Now, so if you remember, on that podcast I had with IDP, I said, if you want a band 9, don't chase it. So I'm going to say something similar today. So, but I want to articulate it with a quote I have, another quote, lots of quotes. And they're not prepared, I swear, okay? They just pop up in my mind. And for the record, I did not see these questions in the comment section. I just made the poll and forwarded it to Miss Markabo and told her that she would be getting questions from the comment section. So, hands to God. Now, so the quote I have, yes, back to what I was saying, the quote I have. Sometimes we are so hung up on the destination that we forget about the journey.
Yeah, we forget about enjoying the journey, right?
Sometimes we're so hung up on getting band 9 that we forget to do the work that it takes to get a band 9.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's my advice for you guys. So if you want to get band 9, set a target and forget about it. If you want to get a band 9, set a target and forget about it.
I see.
Yeah. Because, and here's another fun fact. And all those instances when I got a band 9, I wasn't thinking about getting a band 9. You see, my first 2 band 9s, when I was in the exam, I could not care less if I got a 7. I could not care less if I got a 6. I was there because I just wanted to see if my skills, if my skills and knowledge were still up to much. That was my sole intention. And I didn't have a marketing strategy in mind or anything, and none of those things. So, and I ended up getting a 9. See, I didn't want it, but it happened, right? But after I got those 2 9s, I sat the test 7 more times, trying to get my third 9, but failed miserably because in all those 7 attempts, I wanted to get a band 9. I cared about getting a band 9 so badly, right? It was out of greed. So if you ask me why it didn't work out, all those 7 attempts, is because I didn't have the right, I didn't have the right energy, I didn't have the right vibration, vibes, right? And I didn't have the right intentions. So my mind was not in the right place. So it's very, very, very important that you have to do that self-talk and convince yourself you not to chase things. Let those things come to you, all right? And try to make the most of your life. Try to make the most of every experience you're having, whether it's academic or professional or whatever it may be. Just try to make the most of it. Even simple conversation you have with people on a day-to-day basis, even when you're suffering, make the most of it. Make the most of it.
Right. So what is the difference in preparation for IELTS between you and Alisher teacher? So people are wondering, right? Okay.
We had a whole separate podcast just for that question, and you guys went ahead and asked that anyway. All right, sure. I think our preparation is very much similar, if not identical. Yeah, we do basically the same things. Well, except for Alisher takes a course in writing, but I've never done that because I genuinely believe that there is more free information out there that can help you meet your academic, even professional goals than you possibly ever will need. So there's not a single time I paid for an online course, and that's the reason why I've haven't had my own online course because I can't do something I don't believe in.
Yeah.
You see, and this is one reason, right? I mean, one difference, but it does not mean you should not get the help you need. Okay, right? I don't sign up for an online course because I know still have so much to learn from free courses, right? But if you're someone in need of an online course, if you're someone in need of a mentor or a guide, don't be arrogant. Go for it. Sign up. Get the help you need. Reach out. Talk to people. You understand? Like I said, what worked for me won't necessarily work for you. So you need help, go and get it. Even if it costs you an arm and a leg, it's going to be well worth it in the long run, okay? This is your future. It's your education. This is your mind you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
So do not deny yourself the opportunity to get better in life, to excel in your studies, to get a decent job in the future. So yeah, you have to be generous with your investment in yourself, right? I'd rather invest in myself than invest in S&P 500, right? Or stock or Bitcoin, all those things, right? So invest in yourself, but don't be too generous, okay? So when I say invest in yourself, I don't mean go and getting yourself designer clothes and bunch of...
You mean in education and self-improvement?
Bunch of supplements, trying to, get lean or buff at the gym or whatever, right? You need to be wise with your money because your resources are limited. Yeah.
I see. So if IELTS didn't exist, what exactly would you be doing instead?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I love that.
I have more of that.
Hold that,
on.
right? You
Yes.
do? If there was no IELTS.
Yeah.
You mean like if I quit my job right now? I'd probably be working in the service industry, like a restaurant or hotel. Because I remember my experience in the US working at a restaurant.
And you liked that?
I loved it. I loved it to bits. Right? It was.
Do you still cook?
Yeah, every now and then. But I remember when was the last time I cooked. But yeah, I love cooking. But I love doing chores around the house, like, I don't mind if it's gardening or cleaning or washing the dishes or doing my laundry, because I seriously believe that these chores teach you discipline. These chores teach you to be more composed, in control of your emotions, because you need to be quiet for a prolonged amount of time to do these chores, right? And just kind of puts your mind and your soul at ease, right? It nourishes your soul, and I think you should be more than happy next time your mom comes and tells you should clean your room or do your own laundry, okay? Be a good boy. Listen to mama.
Yeah, right. So let's move on to questions about teaching. All right. So what is the biggest challenge you came across in the early years of your teaching experience?
Okay.
And what have you learned from them?
I don't remember ever if there was a time I had a challenge. Even if I did, I just brushed it off like nothing. Because I don't know why. I don't know what is it about me, that something inside me that has fully embraced the whole concept of challenge. Like, to me, challenge equals fun. No challenge, boring. Right?
Nice.
No challenge, boring. So I don't even notice that I'm in a challenging situation when I'm faced with a challenge. All right. So that's it. But I can tell when it's not challenging, when it's not boring, right? Start literally dozing off. So it's not fun. It's not fun. Genuinely.
So how has your teaching style changed over the years?
It's changed
dramatically.
Yes. It's like day and night. Me back then, me now. All right. Yeah. So I think my teaching style is changing every day. Like, I show up to work a new guy every day. I don't want to live the same day every day. I used to be that guy, though, I admit, right? I'd show up to work and repeat the same things, and little did I know that was road to misery, and I ended up miserable, right?
But don't you think that some students can cope with variety every day?
No,
What
I stay true to the basics. Basics never change, like things like pronunciation, right, and getting the grammar right, and word choice, appropriateness of your word, and fluency, and all these things, basics, right? It's just it's a given. Okay, I just assume that people are supposed to do those things all the time because that's what I expect of myself. What I meant is is not being afraid to, improvise in the class, right? So say I'm teaching writing and my topic is agree, disagree. And for one, I never write an essay on the same topic twice, right? That's one form of challenge, right? And that's how I prepare for the exam. If you guys are curious, right? I don't ever take extra time to write essays. 'Cause that's not efficient. Honestly, I'd never do that. So
this was one of the questions as well.
We'll get to that part. We'll get to that part later. Let me finish this up here real quick.
Yes, please.
So, never. Oh my God, I lost
You
track.
never
I'm sorry.
write one essay.
Yes. I try.
Twice.
I try having adventures every day in the class. I want it to be different, and it's more because I'm trying to keep myself entertained, amused, than it is to help students. I'm a little selfish here. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Because for some students, it's hard to adapt.
I also
to a
make
changeable
I also make
teacher.
sure they feel comfortable. I also make sure they feel comfortable. All right,
that's important.
But at the same time, I have to keep in mind that if I'm not enjoying myself, I can't make other people enjoy themselves. I can't help them enjoy themselves. So I have to first make sure I'm enjoying myself, because I know those days when I'm not enjoying myself, I'm awkward. I'm all thumbs. I it's my first day teaching. I don't know what I'm doing in the class. So first, you gotta get yourself to enjoy, to relax, right? And feel in control of the classroom, right? Like it's like a ship, and you're the captain of that ship, right?
And how you steer it, it will go that way.
Yeah. And the class will go whichever way you steer.
Okay.
Right.
So what aspect of teaching do you like most? And what aspect you hate?
I like all aspects. There's not a single aspect I hate, right? Actually, the aspect that I hate the most is the aspect that I love the most.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
If that makes sense. Actually, the aspect that I hate the most is the aspect that I love the most. Because that aspect is the part that excites me the most, that makes me feel different, and I like that. I love getting that sensation in the classroom when I'm challenged, when my authority is questioned. But don't push me too hard, students out there, because I know some of our students are watching right now. Yeah, you don't want to go up against me in any debate or battle, because I'm gonna literally crush you.
Okay.
Just kidding.
All right.
Just kidding.
Kidding.
Okay.
Can you
I
list,
love that.
Can you list 3 of your strongest suits as a teacher, and 3 of your weak points as a teacher?
Okay. So number 1, shall I start with the weak points or the strength?
Your choice.
Let's start with the weak points.
Sure.
Right? And then we're going to have a nice ending.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So number 1 weak point. I think I'm too kind. I think I'm too kind.
You consider this as a weakness.
It is a weakness because students take it for granted. Oh, yeah. This is number 1. So guys, don't take it for granted. Like what you see here is just a facade, okay? I might pretend to be a nice guy, but I'm very, 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 very cruel inside.
There were many worries.
Yes, I'm as cruel as they come, right? And this is number 1. Number 2, I'd probably say, what's number 2 weakness? I'm the least punctual guy ever. Okay, punctuality.
And I can attest to that.
Yes.
As a former student.
Punctuality is not my strong suit. It's never been, and I don't think it'll ever be. And here's why. Back when I was in Lyceum, I used to run late to my class in the morning, math class. And one of those days, my teacher cursed me. Like when you curse someone, not like one of those bad words. When you say, "I curse you to be late to class, to work, to everywhere for the rest of your life," and he literally did that, and I still remember it. And I think that curse, I'm still under that spell. I'm still under that curse. So if that teacher is watching this right now, please
uncurse him.
Uncurse me. Please free me of that spell. Yeah.
Okay.
And number 3 weakness is probably, what is it? I'm sometimes distracted. I'm not going to lie. I'm distracted. I do my best to stay focused during the class, but I just can't help it. I'm thinking about management. I'm thinking about next podcast. I'm thinking about getting back to messages. I'm thinking about staff meeting. I'm thinking about writing sessions. I'm thinking about our training. I'm thinking about my next IELTS attempt. I'm thinking about all at once. So yeah, and my mind is constantly thinking. So when I'm looking at you and talking to you, it's most of the time only 10% of my mind, of my attention. The other 90% is split 10 ways on 10 different things. So,
and do you think that
even
you
this
can
podcast,
provide
right now, while I'm having this podcast, I'm thinking about because I can multitask. Okay. While I'm having this podcast, I'm thinking about our plan for the next week, our next writing session. I'm thinking, I'm planning. I'm constantly planning, and our execution, all those things. So yeah, I can't be thinking about one thing. There are only few moments in my day when I'm mindful and thinking about only one thing, and I guess that's when I pray, and that's when I'm reading a text that's really important, or when I'm something reading or watching something profound. I just want to be all ears and just lose myself in that content, whatever content I'm consuming, right? So yeah, but you have to every now and then, if not more often, practice mindfulness in the day, and it's very important. And I try to do that in the class. There are pockets of moment, time during the class when I try to gather my thoughts and focus on that one individual student, especially when I'm giving those life-changing speeches. And I'm sure she knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, because I need to be there. I need to be all in, right? Because I feel like when I'm giving those speeches, me and my students, we are in a different dimension. We're in a whole different dimension, a whole different world, and we're dancing with our thoughts. Yeah, if that makes sense. That's the way I like to think about it. Yeah.
So
That's the way I like to think.
what about your strengths?
As for my strength, strength part.
Yeah.
Now, I honestly want to skip this part because I don't want to sound like I'm bragging.
No,
Yeah.
it is actually objective opinion of yours. I mean,
So number one.
if you can be.
Number one strength of mine as a teacher is, and I think it's something very, 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 very hard to get. It's hard to come by. And that is, I genuinely care about you. When I'm a teacher and you're the student, I genuinely care about you. And here's what I mean when I say genuinely care about you. I imagine we're on an adventure, and you stepped on the wrong slope, and you're about to fall off a cliff, and I'm the only one keeping you from falling off the cliff. And I have to give my all, strength, attention to save you from falling and dying. And that's how much I care when I'm talking to you or when I'm teaching you in the class. And I realized to have that amount of investment, that amount of focus, on your students, you have to be able to kind of detach yourself from the material world. Like, forget about fame, money, or results and all those things. Yeah.
And I think your students feel that. I mean,
They do?
genuine
Yeah.
interest.
Let me ask you that.
Yeah.
You ever felt that?
Of course I did.
You did?
Yes.
How'd you feel?
I actually contribute all of my recent success to you, to Alisher teacher, your support.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. And it can be felt, you know? You can't fake it. You can't fake that you care about your students. It's something that is really obvious, I guess. But to me, at least.
Can you tell that from the way we carry ourselves, or there's some aura or energy you feel?
I guess energy.
It's energy. You feel that.
Yes.
You feel that.
Yeah.
You feel that.
Yeah, I did.
So so you believe in that whole
I did.
vibrational thing, law of attraction, people having aura.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah,
so
nice to hear that.
How do you see through the potential of students?
You don't want me talking about the other two strengths?
Yeah,
sure.
Totally
So which one, the strength or the?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead with the second one and the third one, and then you will go on.
Second strength, because all right, here's the deal, guys. I know this podcast is going to be public record, and I'm not saying all these things because I'm trying to appeal to you, because I'm trying to please you, because I want you to think I am a good teacher or a smart guy. None of those things, because I really, 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 really want to one day come back and watch this podcast when I'm 70, when I'm 80. And I want to see what kind of guy I used to be and how much I changed. So this podcast is meant for my future self. I feel like I know right now I'm being watched by my 80-year-old self, 70-year-old self, hoping I'll live up to be that age. And I don't want to let that guy down. I really don't. Okay. So I'm pouring all my heart out here because I know that guy's watching me right now. Just like right now, moments before I walked into this podcast, I reflected and thought about my 15-year-old self. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's the way I feel that we're always being remembered and looked at by our
older versions,
our future self. Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyway, back to my strength. Yes. So I want it to be complete. So I need to talk about those two strengths as well. Yes. So number 2 strength would probably be, it's kind of connected to my first point. So my first strength, and that is generosity. I try being generous with my time. Yeah. Right. When I walk into the classroom, I pretend like I'm entering a realm where there is no time. Yeah, I literally mean that. Yeah. And that's probably one of the reasons why I always run late, because I never keep track of time, right? Yeah. And that's not practical. That's not the most practical thing to do. And that would never ever work in Tashkent, because they always tell you to, keep track of time, right? And that's one of the reasons why I'm not working there. I'm here in Bukhara, where I can play by my own rules. So yeah, I pretend like I'm entering a world where there's no time, there's no concept of time. So I try really being generous with my time. So I'm done when I say I'm done. We're done when we're done, and we're not done until we're done. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. The third one. Okay. The third strength would probably be. Okay. Yeah. It's someone's phone buzzing right now in the set. Yeah. Third strength. Well, you're really making me think today. Oh. It's not every day. It's just the beginning. It's not. Yes, it's not every day. People ask me questions that make me think, make me ponder, and I like that. I like those moments of reflection. I like those moments of self-introspection. I like those moments of, looking in the mirror and not being afraid to describe yourself. So, yeah, I'd probably third strength, right? Yeah. So it's hard to pick. Because there are many. Because not because there are. I honestly have nothing in mind right now. It's completely empty, and I don't want to just make a random pick, right? So, but anyway, I guess Let me think for a moment. Just a moment. I need to stop talking.
2,000 years later. Told you.
I just realized, and it's not just my strength. It's not just my strength in the classroom. It's something I consider to be a strength outside the classroom as well. And that I never take myself serious. I never take myself serious. And what I mean by that is, I do take myself serious when I have to, those moments when I have to pull myself together, but I never ever let my ego influence my judgment and my teaching approach by extension in any way. Yeah. So when I walk into the classroom, I'm a teacher. I'm not a band niner. I'm not a school principal. I'm not a manager. And I don't own things. In fact, I'm nobody. Yeah. And that's so hard to do. That is so hard to do. Because ego always gets in the way. Yeah. So I think it's a true strength, not just in the classroom, but also, in other aspects of your life. Whether whether in family or running your own business, or when you go traveling, wherever you are, right? You have to have a little ego. Yes, you need ego. That's ego. Your ego is what fuels your ambitions. Your ego is what drives you, what makes you want to have things in life. And without that ego, you wouldn't probably, do much with your life. But don't get ahead of yourself, okay? Because you just got to understand that you're just human, and understand where you belong in life. Yeah, that you have a job to do, and all those things, those titles you have, they're not real. All those titles are made up. Okay, there's nowhere that says on your body or your forehead that you're a teacher, or you're a manager, or you're the president, or you're the CEO, unless you get a tattoo that says that. Okay, right. So you're no different than us. You got 2 ears, 2 eyes, a mouth, a nose. Yeah, unless you are a cripple and you happen to be missing I'm sorry. Okay. All right, I should not be saying that. Okay, sure. No bad jokes. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. Well, again, yes, try being modest and humble, right? Know where you belong in life. Know where you belong in the classroom. Know where you belong wherever you go, okay? You're just a human. And that's a strength. Realizing that is a strength.
Yeah, detaching your identity from those. Sure. So how to see through the potential of students? How to tell whether a student has great potential? Okay,
I genuinely believe every student has potential. Every single one of them does.
But to what extent?
Even if they don't, it's our job, something we're getting paid for, to bring out that potential, to make them realize they have that potential. Okay, so yeah. I actually like it when student thinks he or she doesn't have a potential, because that's a new challenge for me.
Yeah.
It's easy working with those kids who are talented, who are bright, who are quick study, who just who learn fast, right? And they don't need to be mentored a lot. They don't need much guidance, right? They just pick it up fast. Those students are easy. Those students are easy to teach. I like those students who are lagging behind, who are shy, who remind me of me, the younger me, right? Makes me want to help them even more, right?
Yeah, because it resonates.
It should not give you a reason to act like that in my class. Oh yeah, because there are students right now thinking, well, if I act like that in my teacher's class, it's probably gonna pay more attention.
Yeah.
No, I can tell when you're faking. So
do
yourself a favor, don't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are the attributes of the ideal student for you?
Attributes of an ideal student.
Yes.
Uh-huh. An ideal student.
Yeah.
Number one, I'd love it if a student was self-aware. It goes a long way. Being self-aware is understanding, what you want, who you are, where you belong, and yeah, just being able to, put your finger on your, feelings, understanding what you're going through, being able to kind of,
Yeah, it pretty much defines self-awareness.
Yeah. Tell what you are experiencing: pain, anger, frustration, excitement, joy, and understanding that those feelings are temporary.
Yeah.
Because sometimes students get carried away in the class or outside the class when things get tough, right? I want you to understand those feelings. Even thoughts you're thinking, they're all your tools. They're your resources. They belong to you, and you're the one in charge, right? And I really appreciate when a student understands that they are in charge. They have this sense of ownership,
self-control,
and self-aware and self-control.
Yeah.
Yes. This is I'd say not only what makes this is not what makes a great student, but also a great individual human being. Yeah. And number two would probably be enthusiasm. It's something so rare these days, and I understand why. Lack of enthusiasm to learn, to explore, to seek out answers, right? To join communities, be involved, show up, try different things. So kids simply don't have that enthusiasm because they're being numbed, literally, by social media, the internet, all those things they see. They're being desensitized and programmed into, not feeling anything. And that's so scary. That is so scary, right? What I think needs to be done is you need to every now and then put your phone away and go out there, spend some time in nature, do some sports, talk to people, just enjoy being human.
Right.
Enjoy being human. And you have no idea how fun that is.
Do you try it yourself sometimes?
Every single moment. Like I'm enjoying every bit of this podcast right now.
Okay.
I'm so glad I'm having this podcast. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to be talking to all these amazing people over this wonderful thing called the internet, right? So yeah. Number two thing again of a student is enthusiasm. Yeah. So if you want to get that enthusiasm back, try being human. Works like a charm. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, number three would probably be I'm thinking long and hard because I know students watching this are going to try to instill these qualities. They're going to develop these qualities.
Yeah.
So I have to watch what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I have to pick my words right. I have to, I don't want to send the wrong message. Okay. So understanding that mistakes are part of the journey. I repeat, understanding that mistakes are part of the journey. Mistakes and failures, these two. Realizing that these two are always there, no matter how great you are, no matter how much progress you've made in the past, no matter how far you've come, mistakes and, setbacks not going to go away. So get used to it. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you're okay with the idea of making mistakes here and there, right? The less pressure you feel, right? It's like weight lifted off your shoulder. Yeah. it's like breathing a sigh of relief, like, oh, finally, yeah, that's how it feels. Realizing that mistakes and setbacks are natural. So I wish you realized that, and that's something I remind myself as whatever I'm doing, whether I'm teaching or managing school, making important decisions, that I don't want it to work out 100%.
Yeah.
Right? I'm comfortable with the idea of things going south. I'm comfortable with the idea of things not turning out the way I want them to. But I'm never going to let that stop me. Never.
Okay. Sure. So how do you deal with students who have a crush on you?
Okay.
So you would
I never thought
right?
I never thought students had a crush on me. Come on, look, I'm an old guy. Come on, guys. Are you
Answer
kidding me
my
right
question.
Now? Okay. All right. What was the question again? All right. I need to pull myself together now.
Okay.
Yes.
How you doing?
This is it just me, or the room is getting hot? It's getting hot here, guys. It's getting hot.
So
yeah, the question again, please.
So how do you deal with students who
My head's literally
who have a
shaking.
crush on you?
All right. For one, all those students who have a crush on me, they're just kids. Okay, they don't know what they're thinking, and they don't know what they're feeling.
So it's not about them; it's about you. How do you deal with them?
How do I feel? What I think it's not.
How do you deal with them?
Okay, how do I deal with that? All right, there are a few instances when actually I literally got told they were into me in person, sometimes secretly, and I'm absolutely used to that. And when that happens, I do what most professionals do and tell those people that they're just being a kid. All right. So for one, you don't know me as a person, okay? So you don't know what you're signing up for when you say, I wanna go on a date with this guy, or I wanna have a family with this guy, or I wanna spend the rest of my life with this guy. Yeah, please don't. Okay, you're just being childish, right? This is not mature, because what mature people do, what adults do, is they gotta test each other. Okay, they gotta make important decisions together, and they gotta see how the other person reacts when they're pushed, right? So yeah, what you see on social media or what you see in the classroom, it's just one aspect of that person that they choose to show to the world. There are parts of them they choose not to show, and only after you see those parts can you be convinced, can you be sure that they are the person you want to be spending the rest of your life with. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I would probably say. So for those people who have a crush on me, get over it. Okay, get over it with your life. So because here's the deal. If you were someone mature, you'd probably here's what you would do. Here's what I want you to do. If you have a crush on me, I want you to be so successful that I'm gonna want to have a crush on you. You get that? So
Girls,
take note. I want you to be. If you want me sliding in your DMs, I want you to be so successful that I'm gonna have a crush on you. How's that? How does that sound? Yeah.
Sounds good. Very motivating. Okay, so I would like to ask you some questions about management. So can you draw me a picture of you as a manager?
As a manager?
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as a manager. I think of myself as, what do I think of myself as? I think of myself as a dad. And I have a bunch of kids here. I know it sounds...
Including teachers?
Especially teachers. Are you kidding me? Especially teachers. All right.
Okay.
So who are they gonna come? Who are they gonna come running to when they got a problem, right? To daddy, of course.
Daddy,
Just kidding.
right.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just
Can you
kidding.
imagine me calling him daddy?
Never. Not gonna happen. I never asked her to do that. Okay.
Okay.
I just know that. So the reason why I want to use dad analogy is because I'm not only responsible for you, for your teaching, and the things you do in your capacity as a teacher, but also you as a person. I genuinely want the best for you. I have the best interests in mind, and I can't really have those feelings and intentions for you unless I think of myself as your dad.
Yeah,
Right.
it
So
pretty much describes the dad authority.
Yeah. I'm looking out for you. Okay. If you're on my ship, then I'm not only responsible for your teaching. I'm responsible for your life. I gotta make sure you'll turn up great in life. You'll turn out great in life. If you right now come to me, any one of our teachers, any one of our teachers comes to me and says, I want to quit this job. I don't want to work for the school across the street because I think I'm better off there. You have my blessing. You have my blessing. I'm not going to be upset with you. I'm not going to try to convince you to stay here with me, because as a dad who genuinely wants the best for his daughter or son, I would want to see you thrive, regardless of where you are, whether you're with me in my house under my roof or with someone else. So yeah, that's the way I would describe myself as the head of the school.
I see. What aspects of your management style do you think that you have to work on? Like more?
Okay, more.
Yeah.
Probably the way I talk, because I'm very, very straight. Like I mean like very upfront. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Very upfront, right? Whatever I have in my mind, I don't have a filter. I just say it. Sometimes I know it's not appropriate, right? It's just I don't know a better way to phrase it, right?
Oh, I see.
And I don't want to sugarcoat things, or I don't want to downplay. I want you to know the unfiltered truth, the whole truth, right? In the crudest form possible, in the rawest form, right? But that does not mean I get to, that does not mean I ever use the curse word. I never did. That's unprofessional, right? I have, clear codes,
Yeah.
right? I'd never cross. It does not. I never humiliated you publicly. That I, or
I can't not
that you can think of.
No.
Or even if I did, like when I called you out, because I know right now Miss Firuza is watching this, and I know she's still holding a grudge against me because I called her lazy on the staff group chat. Yeah, in front of the entire world. I know I did that because I wanted her to learn a lesson. I did not do it because I wanted to humiliate her, belittle her, in public. I did that because I meant it. I thought she was being lazy when she asked me to ask her students vocabulary after my class, when in fact it's her responsibility. And I know her students were being naughty, not listening to her, not doing homework, but it's her job to discipline them, and I can't be always there helping her. She's got to learn to be independent. And guess what happened today on the staff group chat? She thanked me. She literally did. She said, now trying to learn to be independent and solving my own problems, and gave me some credit, didn't she? So
Okay.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah, she might have hated me for that at the time, but she thanks me now.
Yeah.
So the
Sometimes
net
it
result
happens.
is positive, and that's what really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Net result is positive.
Yeah. All right. So, what further steps that you should take as an entrepreneur to scale up?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
That is a really big question. And before we carry on, can you also make sure her mic is recording? Guys, ever since those screw ups we had in the past, and you don't have to cut this part, okay? I want this part to be on the podcast because I want to sort of justify why the audio was terrible with our previous podcast, last 2 hours. Yeah, because... Mm-hmm. No, it's okay. Keep it. That's good. That's good. My mic is also recording. Hers is recording too, right? Okay. All right. I know I'm not the host of the podcast today, but still, I kind of feel like
always in control.
Yeah, I'm a control freak.
Yes.
I gotta make sure everything is going as planned, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to your question. Can you repeat the question real quick?
Yeah. What steps you should take as an entrepreneur to scale up?
All right. So I'm gonna be honest and say we're not planning scaling at the moment because we don't have the resources. So yeah, we're basically broke. we can't afford it. We really can't. All right. So what I'm thinking about right now is just building solid, firm foundation, right, and testing our system a few times, making sure it's shock proof, right? It's fail proof. So this is my number one priority right now. And if we're going to be scaling one day, we're probably not going to be, I'm not sure if branching out is a good idea because it's an old thing, right? Unless you want to invest in real asset, real estate, which is also an asset.
Yeah.
So it's not worth scaling. Branching out. Right. The only reason a school would want to, invest their money in a branch if they wanted to own a property, which appreciates over time.
Oh.
Right.
Right.
So it's a form of investment. It's very smart investment. Right. So not exactly because they want to have more students, because they can be making that money online actually. Right. So they do it because they have a ton of cash and they don't know where to keep it. They don't want to keep it at the bank because if they did that, then government could seize it anytime if they did something wrong or said something publicly wrong, right? So, yeah, but it's hard to seize someone's property unless you commit a major crime. And even in that case, they're not going to get that property building under their own name. They're going to have it registered under one of their relatives' names. So
okay, you're just talking about the scam. Go on. All right, no, but
no, it's not scam. It's a loophole in the system, and people know how to leverage it, and it's smart. It's smart. So so the reason why I'm talking about is because that's one of the reasons why we're not scaling, because we don't have that amount of cash. Even if we're scaling, we want to be owning our own, property, and that's something I learned from Mr. Khurshid on the podcast I had, the previous podcast, that they own all their branches.
Oh.
They got like 18, 17 branches, and they all own all property. That's multi-million property. That's multi-million business venture. That's a lot. So, yeah. And anyway, back to what I was saying, the scaling. Yeah, it is something never off the table, right? But it's not something I don't want to be thinking about right now because my number one priority is making sure the system here is
well established. Right.
Yes. This is number one. And number two, making sure that this podcast right here is a resounding success. Okay. And I need your help with that, guys. So if you like what you're watching, please share this podcast with your friends so we can get some more views. All right, not because we want to be making money. In fact, this channel is not monetized. Okay, we're not making any money off this channel, but because we want to have stronger voice, because we want to be heard by many more people, right? Yeah, because that's what we have in mind, right?
The main goal, right? So,
and we cannot make this happen without your help, guys. So if you're watching this, if you genuinely want to contribute to this project we're working on, please subscribe, leave thumbs up, comments, do all those things people do on social media to promote a channel. And that would be big favor if you could share it on your personal channel if you got lots of followers and subscribers, because I know a lot of people watching this do have that. So I appreciate it from my heart, right? And I'll try to return the favor one day to the best of my abilities.
Okay. So, as an entrepreneur, what is the most challenging thing that you encountered, like as a
It's like
business owner?
it's like asking me what's the most challenging thing in the class, and I have the same answer. The most challenging things are the easiest things because I love doing challenging things.
I see.
So, but if I were to talk about entrepreneurship in general, the hardest thing is probably, here's the hardest thing. It's not the management of things. It's not really a human aspect of things, communicating, because I'm confident we can always work things out, because the way I see it is, even if we are enemies and can't stand each other, at the end of the day, we're stuck on this planet and we're all we have. So we have to work it out. We have to make it work. So I'm not worried about working things out with people. I'm confident I can always work things out with people. So the only hard part is having unwavering faith that things will work out. Having unwavering faith that you are doing something important and that you're going to make it work no matter what. No matter what. Even if the entire world believes things, tells you it's a crazy thing to do, you have to plant yourself as a firm tree and keep doing it. Because you know what? I'm going to share another quote, great quote. So by Steve Jobs. I've never read his books, and people watching this podcast probably think that I read a lot of books. Actually, I don't. All these things I'm sharing are actually from random posts I read. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Steve Jobs, he said something very deep that deeply resonates with me. Those people, here's what he said: those people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who will. Yeah, that's what he said.
I've heard that.
Those people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who will. So. And I might sound crazy to you when I say all these things, but it's not me pretending to be crazy. This is not me doing silly things. I don't think any of the things I'm saying or doing here is impulsive, right? Yeah. And because I have faith that I can do it, or I'm gonna die trying.
Yeah.
That's the only alternative. I have faith I can make it work, or I'm gonna die trying. This is the only two options I have.
Yeah, it's really obvious that you're the strongest follower of this quote.
Thanks.
Yes, yes. Okay. So are there any moments when you as a teacher and when you as an entrepreneur like clash? And who wins in this situation? Like, you have to make a very important decision, and you have to think as an entrepreneur and as a teacher, and who wins?
I win.
Well,
I win. not the teacher, not the entrepreneur.
Okay.
So I just listen to my guts. I listen to my intuition. So I pretend for a moment I'm neither, and I try being a fair judge of those two choices.
So what you're saying is you try to be as objective as you can?
I guess you can say that, but I'm not sure if my intuition is objective.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
I know it sounds super weird, probably sounds super weird, but I just sit and listen to my inner voice. That's what I do. Because almost never fails me.
Okay. Sure. So how do you deal with the stress related to management? You have to deal with a lot of girls, and girls are naturally sensitive and emotional, and they have their moments, right? How do you deal with that? I mean, it should have put you under a lot of stress.
No, never,
dealing with those
never
scenes,
never
bursts of emotions.
Never. They'll just get over it. They're just being human, and I let them enjoy it. I let them be,
All right.
You're crying, enjoy crying. You don't get to cry every day, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. Maybe it was the only thing that the person needed, right? During the day.
Probably. Sometimes
Yeah.
they actually tell me that. Literally
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I've been bottling up this entire time. I'm glad you finally unlit it. You removed that lid, that cap, and I let it all out. I'm glad. I feel light now." So they thank me for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember if there were many instances where I made people cry, and I don't think so.
Okay.
They might cry secretly for things I say to them, but I think that here's why they cry. They don't cry because what I'm saying is unfair or wrong. They cry because what I'm saying is right.
Yeah, and they don't want to admit it. Right?
And they cry because at that moment their belief system, their whole identity, their whole self is being tested.
Yeah.
And they're going through that pain, and I see it as good pain. I see it as good pain. I see it as necessary pain. So, and I can confirm that from personal experience too. There are times when I talk to people way smarter than me, or probably older and have more experience, and I kind of feel insecure. I'm not gonna lie, I do feel insecure around those people, and it feels wrong. And I like that. I feel wrong. I feel bad. Right? Inside for being not enough, for being inadequate, for being not as smart as the other guy. Right? But I like that moment. Because I know after that moment, things are going to get a whole lot better. Things are going to get a whole lot better. I'm about to meet the new me. So when I'm having a crappy day, right? I know the next day is going to be great if I just get through that. Oh, yeah. So I love when things get stormy. Yeah, I'm one of those captains who like navigating stormy waters. Yeah, oh, yeah.
So, and the following question is exactly about this.
Okay.
So, what do you think is the ideal leader?
Ideal leader.
And do you have someone in mind when you think of an ideal leader? Someone who you admire for their abilities?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be Elon Musk for sure. For sure. It's got to be Elon Musk. I haven't watched a lot of his interviews because it's so slow. I only watched like shorts and clips and his tweets, and you know why I admire him? There's an interview of him where he's asked what his mind is like, and he says, "My mind is a storm." Right? And right after that, I'm not sure if it's right after that or later in that interview, they're asked questions about death.
I have questions about that.
We'll get to that part later. Let's talk about Elon for now. Let's stick to Elon.
Yes.
So he's asked about death. And so he's asked how he feels about his own death. And you know what he says? He says, "I guess I'd be relieved." You know what it means? It means he's carrying so much weight over his shoulder, like probably literally the entire civilization, the entire human race, right? And that's all he cares about. I think it's this very innate and profound sense of responsibility that literally shows in him. Like when you see him, you can tell that he's always up to something. He's always trying to contribute. He's always trying to, and I'm sure there are a lot of other people like that who don't get much publicity, right? Who are genuinely hardworking, whose sole goal is to advance our civilization, whose sole goal is to advance humanity, whose sole goal is to make a difference in the world, but they don't get much publicity, right? And I think, and all those people deserve as much credit as Elon. And I think you don't have to be Elon to deserve that credit. If you help one person improve their lives, whether academically, professionally, or physically, you've helped the entire human race.
Yeah.
You know, I was having a class today with PI 12 A and B.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the guys there, he wasn't well prepared. Right? He's didn't do his part. He didn't do his homework. He didn't follow the instructions. He did. But it was all pseudo work. Pseudo.
Got it.
Right? Half-hearted work. He's not really serious about that, right? So I here's what I did in the class. I instantly made them make a to-do list. I said, let's make a to-do list. Number 1, listen to your teachers. Number 2, follow the checklist. Number 3, get videotapes for your speaking from your teachers so you can mimic. Number 4, be a good boy. I made him make that to-do list in the class. Everyone was watching. And then I said, okay, now you step out, go and practice. You come back when you're ready. Right? And on his way out, I've stopped him and said, hey, listen, I need you to help me save the world. And he kind of smirked at me like, what? He said, I repeated myself. I said, I need you to help me save the world. So I said, and then here's what he said. He said, I don't want to save the world. And here's what I told him. I don't care. I need help save the world, and you're going to help me. And you might think that what we're doing here in the class is just sitting and learning English. No, it's more than that. I genuinely believe the world needs saving, and we're the only 2 people left to do that, and we're doing it.
Nice. Was it Ali?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay.
I can't tell you that.
Sure. So you see, behind every successful person, there's always one person who didn't believe in him.
Sorry for cutting you short, but I don't consider myself a success. Okay, far from success.
I'm not saying you. Don't worry.
Okay, all right, sure.
I'm just saying hypothetically.
Okay, hypothetically. Good.
Yes.
I like hypotheticals.
Yes.
Hypotheticals, good.
Yes. So, and there is only like one specific person. It can be a neighbor who just disregarded him, or it can be a teacher who always undervalued him, or it can be a girl who rejected him, or it can be a parent who didn't have faith in him. And then once this person is successful, and he's gonna say, watch me now, right? So
you're about to ask me if I ever had that moment.
Did you have that person in your life which you to whom you want to prove that he wasn't right about you?
Well, I probably never did. Like I said, I'm not on a mission to prove someone wrong. I'm on a mission to prove myself right. And there's a difference. I'm not on a mission to prove someone wrong. I'm on a mission to prove myself right.
Okay.
Right. And even if there is ever a moment in the past where someone doubted my abilities, where someone criticized me, where someone unfairly judged me, right? I would probably just thank them and never hold a grudge against them.
No, it's not about holding a grudge. It's about
you're kind of holding a grudge against someone when you're trying to prove them wrong. Right? You have a beef, But I don't want that. You know why? Because I don't want those chips on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Right?
They're just weighing it down.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to fly like a bird. I can only do that if I got no chips, if I got no shackles, if I got no chains. And I see all that negativity as a chain that keeps you down, that pulls you down.
So it's not something that drives people. It's something that weighs them down. Right.
Well, with some people it might work.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want to share with you one of the moments from my favorite podcast with Alex Hormozy. Yeah, where he's asked this exact question. You can't believe that. And guys, it's so serendipitous.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
so serendipitous that it's so coincidental that she's asking me this question, and I watched this podcast, and it's so surreal that sometimes people might think this podcast is scripted, but it's not.
And those questions were made up by me, but I mean, most
for real?
of them, yes.
Yeah, not even from the comment section.
No.
Okay.
From comment section, I already voiced them to
You did? Okay.
Yes.
All right, sure. We
All
got
the
through
rest are
questions,
from
comment
me.
sections.
Yes.
Got it. So, and you're being a great host, by the way,
Thank
today.
you.
You got to give you
Thank
some
you.
credit before this podcast is over.
Thanks.
So anyway, Alex Hormozy, so where he's, so where he talks about a interaction, not an interaction. He gets asked actually this exact question about trying to prove someone wrong. And then he gives this analogy. Not an analogy, actually story he heard from his teacher, physical education teacher in high school, who also happens to be his former, coach. And the guy who introduced him to fitness, to lifting. And the story goes like this. There's a guy in your class, and he's bigger and stronger than you, right? And he's probably the coolest guy in the entire school. And he's got all the girls. He's got all the eyes on him, right? He's a tough guy, and he drives to school in his Ferrari or some fancy car. His dad got him, right? And you really want to catch up to that guy. You really want to prove that guy that you're better, right? And you spent next 5, 10, maybe 20 years of your life just working, making all that money and gaining all that influence and power, and want to just supersede him in success. And you go and tell that guy that, well, look at me now, I'm better than you. What do you think that guy's reaction is going to be? He's going to look at you and laugh.
Who are you?
No, he's going to look at you and laugh and say, you did all this
because of
just to prove me wrong?
Yeah.
You must be so miserable.
Yeah.
You spent 20 years of your life just thinking about me, and that was at the core of your existence. That was what you were thinking the entire time. You did all that hard work. You must be so miserable. You must be so pathetic. So I would not ever do something just to prove someone wrong. That would be against me. That would be so not me. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you afraid of? So I know that you like to portray the person who is unshakable, unbeatable, unbreakable, but
that's a tough question.
You're a human being, and there should be something.
Yes, that scares me, right?
Yeah.
I probably never said this on the record, but I have to say it because my future self is watching me right now. And I need them to know that, and I need them to know when it started. I fear the judgment day. I fear God. I'm afraid I might disappoint him.
Mm-hmm.
That scares the hell out of me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's because sometimes I picture myself on the judgment day on my knees, and I'm being shown all the bad things I did, or all the mistakes I made,
Mm-hmm.
all the things I shouldn't have done, but I did anyway.
Yeah.
And I have to answer them. That's very heavy. That's like having a literal mountain on your back. That amount of judgment. Yeah. So sometimes, that's something that's probably the only thing that scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, yes, like you said, I try to be unshakable.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? Speaking of things that fear you normally,
Mm-hmm.
things that scare you, things that you're afraid of, it's possible to wrap your head around those things. Just get comfortable with the most painful and the worst case scenario. Just get comfortable. For example,
losing a loved one.
No, that's not the worst case scenario.
Losing yourself.
Losing. What do you mean? No, let's talk about exam. So say you're talking about exam, and a lot of students are afraid of their IELTS exam, right? The worst case scenario is you're gonna get 0.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is you're gonna get hit by a car before you get to the exam venue and die. That's the worst case scenario. Are you comfortable with that? If you are,
Then
nothing
the rest
scares
is
you.
easy.
Then nothing
Correct.
scares you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, nothing scares you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
and it's so fallible of humans to think that things are promised when they're not.
Yeah.
It is so wrong of us to assume that we're going to make this room
Alive.
We're going to make out of this room alive.
Yeah.
Because there's a good possibility that someone's going to drop a bomb on us right now and we're going to die.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that idea? I am.
Totally.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So who is one person who like figuratively holds a mirror to your face and shows your flaws and then helps you cure them, heal them, right? Heal from them, sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. You said, who's someone who holds a mirror to my face who helps me heal from?
Yeah. It's not literally, just figuratively. Like, who shows you that your ways are sometimes wrong and like helps you to see them.
That's probably Alisher for sure. That's Alisher for sure.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's him for sure. Okay. I wouldn't probably be where I am now if it weren't for that guy. I have to give credit to whole other people, my family. I have to give credit to all the people who've supported me, all my siblings, my relatives, my teachers, everyone who's been in my life have helped me come to this point, right? So they all deserve a credit.
Yeah.
They all deserve some credit, right? But if I had to pick someone, he'd probably deserve the most credit because every time I seem to be going off the rails, every time I seem to be, every time I'm about to make a bad decision, he's the one who calls me back to reason. Yeah, he's the one who tells me where I'm wrong. Yeah, and I really appreciate that. And I can also tell when his criticism is valid and when it's not. Yeah, so I don't let him, criticize my work just because I think he's someone who's supposed to be holding me accountable. Right. I only let him do that if I think what he's saying makes sense. Right. I try to be a man of reason. Because sometimes he's saying that because it's the best thing for him, not for me or the entire school, right? But he rarely does that. I know that he rarely does that. His objective, he tries to be fair-minded, and that's something I really appreciate about him.
Yeah, you just answered my next question. Can you walk us through the trajectory of your relationship with Alicia teacher? So how was it and how it changed over the time, and like how do you guys resolve conflicts if there are any? Right.
Alicia, we get on pretty well, me and Alicia. Yeah.
And
it's because of the fact that we spend so much time together, and also the fact that we have the same values and beliefs, and that we have the same, intentions, right? That we're both more or less on the same page, I'd say. So yeah, there was hardly ever a time when we had to, had to resolve a conflict, right? We had few conflicts like in early years of our friendship, but that was just that. Okay, there was this actually one time we had a big fallout, and we went without talking for almost half a year. It was our second year in university, I guess, and so something happened, and it was, I admit it was my fault, honestly, and we had a big fallout. So we weren't friends anymore. We weren't texting each other. We weren't talking to each other. We just, when we'd see each other at university or at dormitory or street, we just pretend like we're strangers. It was that bad.
It's
and
hard to imagine
it was
guys
actually,
like
yes, it was actually him who
manned up.
Yep. Not, I wouldn't say it was, probably, yeah, he was the bigger man. Yes, I agree. He came up to me and said, okay, we had a fight. All right, let's just bury the hatchet, move on. And that's what we did. And things have been great ever since. So yeah, I admit there are sometimes trouble in our little paradise. Yeah. But for the most part, we're a happy couple.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I hope Sivar is not watching this part, okay? Because she's going to divorce Alicia for sure if she sees this part. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you appreciate most about Alicia teacher?
What I appreciate most about him? He's a... It's the fact that he's very resourceful. Resourceful. Yeah. So when someone, there's always this guy who has got a lot of connections, who knows about all kinds of different things, like cars, shopping, or real estate, property, or tech, right? He's that guy. He's my go-to guy for literally everything. If my car needs oil change, he's my guy. If I need some gadget, like say I want to buy a new smartphone, I need a new watch. I actually never wear watches, hypothetically. So we're doing a lot of hypotheticals here today, right? So hypothetically, I need something. It'd be the first person I'd ask. So yeah, he's a very resourceful guy, and that's what I admire about him. And I'm actually trying to be that guy myself now, because I can't always count on him for everything, right?
Yeah, you have to balance each other, right?
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that.
Point. I mean,
I don't really mean that. Say, I should not take for granted his presence in my life, because I know he's not always going to be around. And as much as it hurts to admit that, that's the truth.
Oh yeah.
That's the truth, and I can't hide from it. So I can't always have him around to clean after me. I can't always have him around to help me with the management side of things. In fact, soon he's going to be away for a few days for his surgery. He's got, I'm not sure if he's made it public yet, but it's a small surgery. It's a minor injury he has in his knee, and we all wish him swift recovery, right? And when he's away, I am gonna have to take full responsibility for everything here. right? So, and buddy, I want you to know that you are always in our prayers. You're gonna be okay. You'll get through this. You're gonna get through it, and it's gonna be like never happened. Okay, just know that we're in your corner and we're always praying for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So, what was the catalyst for your growth?
Catalyst for my growth.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Okay, that's one question I got asked a lot, just different words. I got asked a lot in the past, different words, but the same question. And that's actually the thing I tell students in the class when I want them to get their lives together, to kind of turn their lives around. And I think that's self-embarrassment. Self-embarrassment is a good thing as long as it's not crippling, as long as it's not too much. So
you mean self-irony, right? No.
I'm not sure if those are the same things. So self-embarrassment is when you're embarrassed of where you are, who you are. There was a point in my life when I was ashamed to look at myself in the mirror because I wasn't proud of the guy I was. So I wanted that to change. Next time I looked in the mirror, I want to be proud of myself, but not too proud, but not too proud. So yeah, and that's what constantly drives me, because like I said, I don't want to disappoint myself. I don't want to disappoint people looking up to me. I don't want to. I know there's some negativity around these feelings, but if used correctly, they can serve you. And that's the way I see it, right? To me, they're a tool and that's not the thing that really prompts me into action, right? Although I admit it used to be the primary tool I had back then, but now I'd like to act more out of inspiration. I'd like to act more out of passion. I'd like to act more out of discipline, reason, consistency. So yeah, obviously my motivators have changed a lot over the years, but every now and then when things don't go exactly as planned, I turn to my old friend, self-embarrassment and pain. They're great motivators, so use them. But not to the point where you are crippling yourself, not to the point where you're literally, chopping off your legs or pulling the rug from under your feet. So yeah, you got to know when you need to scold yourself. Yes, you need to scold yourself, because I mean, look at me. I'm an adult. Who's going to scold me? Not my dad, not my mom, not my grandparents, right?
Yeah.
And I guess the same goes for a lot of adults out there, right? And it's because of that, they start getting out of line. It's all these adults start slacking in life because they lose that disciplinarian. And when you reach that age, it's important that you become that person, you take on that role, that you hold yourself accountable, all right?
Yeah, but just make sure that it's real you, not the voices in your head that were instilled by some other people.
Yeah.
And
right?
Yeah.
So yes, that's a really good addition you made here. Thank you for mentioning that, because sometimes lines kind of get blurred, and we mistake, our past trauma or pains or fears and insecurities put in our minds by other people for self-embarrassment, for for insecurities that we've developed ourselves, not put in us by other people. So Yeah, you have to understand how much of it is you and how much of it is other people. That's a very important addition you made here, and thanks for that. So and that's where self-awareness part comes in, right? The ability to say, well, am I feeling that way because that's the way other people making me feel? Am I feeling that way because of the comparison I'm making, social comparison I'm making, or is that because it's something I am not personally comfortable having, because I want things to be different, right? It's my inner desire. So the ability to distinguish these two is so important, so critical.
Yeah. And how do you do that?
That's another great question. You're asking a lot of great questions today.
I know.
What do you guys say? She takes over the entire podcast.
No, come on. Your subscribers would go to 0.
No, why would you say that? She's all right. If you guys like Miss Markaba as the podcast host, please mention that in the comments. All right, Miss Markaba 100. Yes, leave that comment.
Minus.
All right.
Minus 100.
No. Miss Markaba 100.
Right. Okay.
Anyway.
Yes, please.
So back to your question. So you said,
how do you do that? How do you differentiate the voices which are real, genuine, and belong to you, and the voices which were just the past trauma?
So I said self-awareness, and your next question was, how do you?
Yeah. How do you reach?
How do you realize that?
Yeah.
Right?
How do you reach that?
It's easy. It's easier than people think. You have no idea how much self-work and self-reflection you can do if you just sit alone, be it be your room or somewhere in nature for 10 minutes. No friends, no family, no phone. Just go somewhere quiet. It's just you and your thoughts. And don't hide from them. Talk to them. Not out loud though, because then people think you're crazy.
Right.
Yeah, not out loud though, because then people think you're out of your mind. Yeah. Next thing you know, you'll find yourself in a mental ward in a straitjacket. Yeah, so don't do that out loud. But yeah, you need to examine your thoughts and your feelings.
So, what importance do you attach to your social image?
Social image?
Yeah.
None, 0.
But you just said that people would think that you're crazy, which means that you care about what people think.
People thinking you're crazy is not the same thing as, clinically crazy is not the same thing as people thinking you are exceptional or different. Those are different things. Okay.
I see.
Right.
Okay.
As for what people think, my social image, how I want to be perceived in the outside world, is social media, internet of things. I could not care less. Yeah.
Okay.
I because if I did, I'd have a miserable life. Yeah. And you guys all can confirm that from personal experience. The more you care about what other people think of you and the harder you try to impress them, the more miserable your life is. So it doesn't necessarily mean you should be completely oblivious to the outside world, global thinking, current trends, and things going on, and how things are perceived, what's in social norm and standard, right? Because then you'd be rebellious, right?
But don't be a people pleaser as well.
Either, yes.
Yes.
You don't want to be that either. You're right. So yeah, it's sort of about balance here. Yeah, balance, which is hard. But anyway, it's through these lessons you're learning from people or podcasts like this that you get to, build that sort of kind of awareness, critical thinking, and mindfulness, and confidence. Because I hope that people watching this podcast, students watching this podcast, develop some confidence, because I think confidence is really contagious.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. And even if you're watching this on your phone and you're not physically present in this room, I know you can feel the energy. I know you can feel the vibes, because that's the way I felt when I watched some podcasts, right? And I want this podcast to be no different. I want this podcast to be impactful, and so it's through these lessons and this podcast like this, conversations, honest talks, right? Intimate conversations we have, open conversations that you get to learn important lessons, build confidence, self-awareness, that are, I think, way, 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 way more important than knowledge you get from textbooks.
Yeah, they're more practical.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Okay. So is it hard for you to open up to people, and why?
Open up about what?
About pretty much
I'd like to think of myself as an open book. Open book. I literally am. There's almost nothing people don't know about me. Yeah. If there's something you'd like to know, then just leave us some comments.
Yeah, surprisingly, all the questions.
And our media guys will get back to you guys. Okay. Well, they're gonna. I don't really have time to look through all the comments, but I'll do my best sometimes to get back to your comments. God, why do I keep saying comment?
Maybe you're far away somewhere.
No, not exactly.
Okay.
Anyway, so I don't ever have a hard time opening up because I never felt the need to open up. Yeah, I never did. I never did. And another reason why I wouldn't be so eager to open up is I think people don't really get you unless they are you. Even when you're very empathetic.
Yeah.
Or as someone who's opening up, very eloquent with your words, and put your emotions and your thoughts, whatever you're going through, very clearly, they still don't get it. There's some physical aspect to it, but I think they would if they were very connected to you, and that's why people tend to open up to their mom.
I see.
Because there's that a little bit of connection,
a little bit off.
Or a lot of that connection. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What is the key to self-control?
Self-control. Again, self-awareness. It's kind of a buzzword now, but it's so
relatable.
You're relatable. And it's like what do you call something that's solution for everything? There's a word
Panacea?
for it. Panacea, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the word for it. That's the thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. So, I'm starting to run out of words here. Thank you, Ms. Markova. Panacea, or is it panacea? How do you pronounce that?
I think it's panacea.
Panacea, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Guys watching this, can you do a real quick pronunciation check? Because I know they will. Yeah.
Okay. So let's
kind of the true panacea for a lot of the things, a lot of the problems we have in life, including self-control. Yeah. Try understanding yourself better. Understand yourself before you try to understand the world. That's the number one thing you have to do with your life. What am I going through? What am I thinking? What do I want? Why do I want it? Where did that desire or need come from? How much do I want it? Do I want it as bad as I want air? If yes, then it's worth pursuing. Then not, screw it.
Okay. So let's spice things up, because if I don't ask those questions, your fans will kill me.
Okay.
Yes. So what do you think of marriage?
Okay, what do I think? Nothing. It's something very sacred. Yes, it's something I am not prepared for. I'm not thinking about. Okay, I honestly don't want to be thinking about it until I really get there. I'm yet to cross that bridge. Okay, and I don't want to be thinking about that bridge until I get to that bridge. So
what qualities does this person like would be should have?
would be
like,
what?
Would be wife of yours.
Okay.
So yeah, and who is like for you? Who is 10 out of 10? Right.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't given it a thought, honestly. And
but you have like some picture in mind, right?
no, none.
Not necessarily picture. I mean like qualities, a set of qualities.
All right, they have to speak English for sure.
That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
all right, for sure.
Right.
Like, otherwise, I don't think we can really be together. So for sure, that's just so obvious.
Next. Because girls are watching and taking notes. Right.
Why are you putting me?
I told you at the beginning of the podcast.
It's getting super weird right now, but I'm gonna answer that anyway. Okay. I guess that's the only thing I know for now. That's the only thing I know for now, because I have not honestly given any thought. I have not given any thought because I'm all dialed in I'm all dialed in with work. I'm all dialed in with the school. So if I start thinking about that, I can't be thinking about this.
But you can think of many things at the same time.
Oh yeah, except for that one, because it's a whole different project.
Yeah, it will overshadow all the other thoughts, right?
No, not
really.
Well, it's a very, very, very delicate matter, and I'm sure you can confirm that.
Yeah.
So it's all right. Here's what I would expect from them.
Take notes.
No, in all seriousness, though. In all seriousness,
yeah, sure.
Here's what I would expect from them. I'd expect her, not use the word them, not get all mixed up with pronouns. I'd expect her to be her.
Nice.
That's what I would expect.
Nice.
I'd expect her to be her. Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably it. Probably it.
That was awesome.
So two only requirements. One is they got to be able to speak English for sure, and two is I just want them to be them. I just want her to be her. I'm sorry.
Nice.
I just want her to be her.
Okay.
Right? Because here's the thing. If they want me, if they do something because they want me, then I don't want them.
Yeah.
I want to say it in very simple words, in words that people understand. So like very, very clear words. If they do something to get me, then I wouldn't want them really. Yeah, I just want them to be them, and yeah, I mean just by some, by some serendipity, by some chance, our paths will one day cross. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. And I don't want it to be forced. Yeah. Probably not. And I'd also want them to expect someone who's not gonna be home much. Someone I'd expect them to accept the fact that I'm not gonna be home much and I'm not gonna be around much. And I jokingly said to Alicia, we would probably go on dates once a year after we get married, but I kind of meant it. Probably not. It's not gonna be fun being with me. It's not gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun if they're into doing hard things.
But I don't think that it's up to you to decide. Right? It's kind of you are making a decision for them.
No, I'm not. If they're not simply, match, these criteria, match this description, then we're simply not meant for each other. We're just gonna go our own ways, right? Okay. And I'm gonna make it absolutely clear to them. on day one.
Yeah.
And that's me. Take it or leave it. So.
Okay. So do you think people should heal from their traumas before getting married, or is it the teamwork? Like you should help each other and support and be side by side and help each other heal?
If you're someone who believes everything happens for a reason, there's no trauma to heal from. So you just have to accept that. No matter how horrible the thing that happened to you in the past, you just have to
grow out of it.
Yeah. Accept that it happened, that you can't go back in time and change it.
Yeah.
And that you should move on. Yeah. As for healing together, I mean that's a tough question, because thanks God, I haven't suffered many traumas in the past. And the worst thing that I'm not sure if that's the worst thing that has ever happened, but the worst thing that has happened to me so far is my back injury. Right, that was very depressing. But you know what? I'm actually glad it happened.
Yeah.
I'm glad it happened. Do you know why? Because it made me appreciate life more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it changed me. Because it taught me to make the most of every moment. And it taught me not to waste a single second of my life. It made everything so much more precious. So it made me more empathetic. It made me a better man. Yeah. So try to look at the bright side of things, no matter how bad they are. And you might be thinking, well, what's the bright side of getting raped? What's the bright side of being stabbed? What's the bright side of getting hit by a car? Not being able to walk? What's the bright side of losing your son or daughter to a terrorist? You might be thinking, what's the bright side of someone bombing your house? What's the bright side of, worst thing imaginable, right? It's a hard question to answer, It's a hard question to answer. But you know what? Sometimes these questions don't need to be answered. Because it's way beyond our comprehension. It's those questions are way beyond our understanding.
Yeah. Unless you walk the shoe.
No, I didn't mean us. I meant as a person who experienced the trauma that is of unimaginable pain, that is of unimaginable magnitude, and you have no way of explaining. Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't try understanding why it happened, because you can't comprehend.
But don't you think that understanding it kind of helps to alleviate the pain?
Yes, you should try to understand as much as you can. But how do you understand, losing your 6-year-old child to a terrorist? How do you look at the bright side of that? Do you see any bright side to that? Because you're talking about trauma, right? And I'm talking about the worst case scenario. So as a psychologist or as a shrink, finally is the right word, as a shrink who's trying to console his or her patient. So how would you get them to look at the bright side of things? There isn't. Just horrible things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
And when they do, here's what I do. Here's what I personally do. I remind myself that there are people who are in way worse situations and they're doing a lot better than me.
Yeah.
I remind myself there are people who are in way worse situations and they're doing still better than me. And if I'm whining about my situation, I'm a terrible human being. So I can't do that. I'm going to give you an example. You know, when my back injury happened, I got so depressed to the point where I imagined myself in a wheelchair and stuck, you know, in my room looking out the window the entire day, right? And someone cleaning up after me, someone, you know, spoon feeding me and all that. It was horrible because I was reading all the wrong stuff on the internet. Okay, all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Do not Google your symptoms on the internet. Okay,
Yeah,
because the internet always tells you you're gonna die.
Yes.
That's what I did. I did that. I made that mistake. So I was depressed as hell. But you know what I said to myself? I should be grateful. You know why? Because this injury happened to me and I have the means and the resources to recover from it.
Yeah.
And there are people with this injury and they don't have the resources and they have to bear that pain.
Yeah.
See, that instantly
And it helped you.
changes everything. That instantly changes the way you look at things. And that's what I was going to tell my friend Alisher today, but I didn't think of it at the time because I'm not always smart and I don't always have the right stories or the analogies or the things to say. But I'm sure he's going to be watching this podcast, okay? And you got this knee injury, you know, buddy, and you kind of, I can tell you're kind of beat up. I could tell that. I felt that today. You tried to hide it, but it's a hard thing. I've been through that myself. But you should remind yourself that there are people with this injury and they can't afford the treatment, but you can. So you can get over it. And that's something to be grateful for. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The biggest challenge that you ever had to overcome?
The biggest, you mean the most fun I ever had to have?
Well, you can define it.
Yeah.
Right.
The biggest challenge. I guess the biggest challenge is always internal. Internal. External challenges are easy. The hardest challenge is internal. The hardest challenge is the hardest challenge is getting out of your way. 99% of the time, the thing that's stopping us from reaching our full potential is us, not other people.
Exactly.
It's not the world, it's you. That's the hardest challenge. Get out of your way. How do you do that? Stop telling yourself the wrong things and start telling yourself the right things. You need to fix your self-dialogue. You need to have a healthy relationship with yourself, with your thoughts. So, yeah, that's the hardest thing ever. And I understand why, because human mind is like a maze. Like, you take a wrong turn, you go down a rabbit hole of so much negativity and rot. And it's really dark there. So, yeah, get out of your way. That's the hardest challenge, I think.
Okay. When and at what age, did the redefinition of your values happen?
It's happening every day. It's happening pretty much. I'm a new guy every day. I have like the core principles, values that never change, like serving, doing good, and you know, being consistent with your past pronouncements and not being afraid to challenge them, right? But I feel like every day I'm reborn. I'm being given a new opportunity. It's a new day. It's a new light. And I'm feeling good.
Don't sing, please.
It's that song, all right? It's good. It's good. Go and listen to it.
All right.
Yeah.
So how to learn?
Yeah, I'm a new guy every day.
How to learn to accept your dark sides and like don't go into that rabbit hole of self-sabotage. Right.
Dark sides. What? Can you give me some examples of dark sides?
We are humans, right? I mean, we have both. no matter you want it or not, you have dark sides, but how to like befriend them, kind of make them serve you.
Okay, can you give me one example? I guess this question is yours.
Of course, mine.
Of course, I meant like you want the answer
For myself,
exactly.
You mean?
Yes, you do. You don't want to admit
sure,
it. Yes, you do.
Sure.
And I want you to give an example. What's something
I can't give you.
You see, that's not honest. That's not honest.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not because I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because right now I cannot think of one like dark side. It's just.
So what's one dark
hypothetical.
Side? What's then one dark side you used to have?
It's actually me who is asking questions. So
no,
please.
That's not an interview. It's a podcast.
Okay.
So, what's one dark side you used to have? We can talk about that, and I can give you more.
It's not about me like shying away.
But honestly, I have no idea what kind of dark side you're talking about. You mean like your character flaws? You mean like?
Yeah. Let's say character flaws. Yeah, you want to like really fix them.
It's very, very general question. Very general.
But I can't be specific. Because dark side can be different for each person.
Probably gonna sound cliche, but again, be
self-awareness.
Be self-aware,
right,
and get it together. Okay.
Okay.
Come on, just get a life, please. Yes.
Get a life.
Stop watching those movies about psychos, like Joker. I don't understand why people make a big deal out of that movie, right? It actually corrupts people's minds because it normalizes stupidity and psychopathic behavior. I know their intention is trying to help people understand, maybe in some sense, what psychopathic people go through, right? But at the same time, they're glorifying that behavior in young people's minds. Right, so the young kids normalizing that, and I don't think that's right. So quit watching those videos. You want to be watching instead documentaries of inspirational people. You want to be listening to more podcasts that put you in more touch with this reality, our world, not some imaginary world of fictional characters. Not saying you should not be watching those movies. I'd be a hypocrite if I said don't watch them at all, because I like watching Marvel movies about fictional characters, right? But that's them, it's their world, and this is our world, two different worlds. And for this reason, that they're called an escape. They're escape from our world reality, for a brief moment, right? But don't get lost in that world, and which is what I see happen a lot to young people, even adults sometimes. They get so emotionally attached to their fictional character that it's not them anymore, it's that character.
Oh.
Yeah. It's so when you talk to them, they're so inauthentic and fake because they're trying to embody that fictional character, which is not really necessarily them, which is not necessarily best expression of their self.
But they see them in themselves. I mean, even though it's not the case, but they see it in themselves, and unless they are not convinced themselves that they don't have it.
Okay, yes, you should. It's okay when you draw inspiration from a fictional character, right? But at the same time, you have to still stay true to who you are. Like you still have to have a handle on your true self, right? Which is a very hard thing to do. Yeah. I draw inspiration from a lot of fictional characters, right? Superman, Batman, right? But just because Batman lifts 200-300 kilos doesn't mean I'm going to want to do the same thing
Mm-hmm.
because we're just built different. I could try being like Batman. I could try training like that. I could try, eating like Batman. But is it worth the investment? Is it worth my time? Is it something I really want to do with my life? Am I doing that because I want other people to think I'm Batman?
Uh-huh. I see.
Right?
I see.
Or is that something I really wanna be? Is that something I'd be proud of?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe not. If yes, then sure, go for it. But again, you have to try to be,
Mm-hmm.
try to understand yourself,
Mm-hmm.
who you are, your identity,
Yeah.
and not let outside influences shape your life. That's what I would say. Because you see, the thing is, you get only one life. I mean, you get what I believe in reincarnation, but I meant like in this world.
Yeah.
So you get only one life, and it's only one reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no replay button, there is no restart button, right?
Rewind button.
There's no rewind button, exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you have to cherish every moment and live it. You have to live it yourself, not live it through other people's lenses, their minds, or other characters.
Right.
So yeah, that would be similar to, that would be analogous to self-suicide and self-betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Speaking of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if your life was a movie,
Mm-hmm.
what title would it have?
A movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all would like to think that we are some kind of a movie and that we're the main character.
Mm.
So if my life was a movie, that'd probably be titled Life. Yeah.
Boring.
That
Sorry.
boring. I know it's boring, but I think it's the most matching title. So, because it's a life. It's a life.
Mhm.
Or it would be titled Muhammad Ali.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, if anyone ever wanted to make a documentary or a movie about me, I would want them to title it Muhammad Ali. Because I think there's no one word that would best describe me other than my name.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I take pride in. That's something that's very, very important to me,
Mm-hmm.
my name.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually get kind of frustrated when I hear students
Butcher.
not butcher it, they never do.
Mm-hmm.
They ask their teachers, call them different names, nicknames.
Oh yeah.
For example,
Mhm.
their name is X, they want to be called Y because it's a
Oh.
cool nickname.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I see.
that's so wrong.
Mhm.
You should not be okay with that. You should not be okay with people butchering your name. Yes, you got to keep your name.
Right.
It's the only thing you have. That's one of the few things you have that belongs to you.
Mhm.
There's only one Mukhammadali Sodikov who looks like me, who talks like me, who walks like me, who acts like me. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right. Uh-huh. So if you had a time machine to go back in time,
Mhm.
what would you change?
nothing. You know the answer to that,
Right,
okay?
right.
Because this entire podcast has been all philosophy.
Oh yeah.
I hope our subscribers
this
didn't
is-
fall asleep. Uh-huh.
Did they?
Yeah.
Sorry guys.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, define success.
Mm-hmm.
Define success. What is success to you?
Success is living a meaningful life.
Mm-hmm.
Success is living a life true to yourself
Mm-hmm.
and doing good deeds,
Mm-hmm.
being a good servant.
Mm-hmm.
That's what success is to me.
So what would you do if it didn't involve any risks?
You mean my life?
Yeah. What would you definitely do if it didn't involve any risks?
I think risk is a relative concept.
But
Like,
for you,
For me,
yeah.
it would be a risky thing to do to jump off this roof. Yeah, jump off the roof of this building. And I'd obviously never do that. Yeah. Anything outside that is not risky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just depends on how you process risk. And I think I have very high risk tolerance. Because like I said, I just think about the worst case scenario and get comfortable with it, right? And it's easy from there.
What situations or circumstances make you closer to your true self, and they kind of reflect?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. I really am. Thank you. It's podcasts like this one, open conversations like this one. This podcast, I think I was so expressive today. I didn't hold back, because like I said, I'm making this podcast not for our audience, not for our viewers. I'm making it for my future self. Yeah, and I don't want to disappoint them. And it's podcasts like this that make me reflect and ponder and understand myself better. It's also when I read books or when I'm intellectually challenged. So that's when I take a step closer to understanding myself.
Okay. What is your message to the world? What do you want to say with your existence to the world? To the world,
okay. Let's all leave a better world behind. That would be my message.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So what is your legacy to human beings?
Legacy?
Yeah, to future generations.
I guess I already kind of answered that right now.
Well, message and legacy, I wouldn't say it's the same thing. Like, message is something that you say with your existence, but legacy is something that you leave behind, and it will exist even
long after I'm gone.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm honestly actually not a fan of idolizing. I'm not a fan of people. Yeah. Because I think the only person that should be at the center of your universe is you. Right? I meant person. The only human that should be at the center of your universe is you. Because I'm saying that because a lot of people out there idolize K-pop stars, right? They idolize Andrew Tate, right? And because they think they're making a legacy, and they probably are, and they're only making a legacy because they put themselves at the center of their universe, not other people. So, and the legacy I would want to leave behind, and the reason why did I say that? I said that because even if I did something very, very profound, I want you to look at it, enjoy it for a moment, learn your lessons, and move on, and not get hung up on my legacy. So whatever I'm leaving behind, I don't really want it to be permanent, because I know it's never gonna be, right?
Wow. Yeah.
But I'd be happy, I'd be glad, I'd die happy, knowing that I've done something useful, and I've helped advance the civilization, our race. And I'm not saying just our country, because I'd like to think that we are all one team. We're a human team, team human. I don't like the idea that drawing borders and putting people in different boxes and races and colors and languages. We're all one team. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
We're all on this planet, and we inherited from our ancestors.
Yeah.
And we have to preserve it. We have to keep it and leave a better world for our kids, for our future. So my legacy would be that, probably. Yeah, leaving again a better world behind.
Wow.
But I don't have precise words. I'm guessing you probably wanted me to say something like a statue. No, I'd hate that. Please don't ever do that. I'd hate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think I'm pretty much done with all of my questions, and I hope that your subscribers did really like our interview today, and they did get to know you a little bit better, not only as a teacher or as a manager or someone who is in the world of IELTS, but as a person. Yeah, and I'm I'm thankful to you for making me a host. Thank you for this experience. It was great, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. Please, if you have anything to say at the end of our podcast, you're more than welcome.
Oh, yeah, final remarks, right?
All
It was one of the best conversations I've ever had.
Thank you.
I don't know you guys, but I thoroughly enjoyed this talk, right? And yeah, I also want to thank you for asking me these thought-provoking questions, for being the best host.
Thanks.
And that's no exaggeration.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, because you're a great listener, and that you did a great job of today, I think, pointing me in the right direction when I sometimes seem to go off on a tangent, right? It's no easy job. You help me tidy up my thoughts. You help me, think, reflect, and it's one of the best gifts you can ask for. It's a great blessing, and I want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you
For having me on the
mutual.
podcast today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, put likes, and share it. Thank you for attention.